Hi everyone, Nathan Bowman with Draper Incorporated. Today we are going to review programming the IntelliFlex IO DC power panel. Programming the power panel is handled via the motor limit tool. As of 2025, the updated motor limit tool is what you see before you with gray buttons. If you have a motor limit tool that has black buttons or it has buttons underneath the screen that says copy and paste, please contact Draper to get an updated limit tool sent out immediately. Okay, first things first, we need to connect our motor limit tool into our power panel. So I'm going to take my patch cable with RJ45s on either end, plug into my network port. You can go network in or out, it does not matter, and then simply plug into your motor limit tool. By default, each motor will ship from the manufacturer with a unique identifying number. As you can see, this motor is labeled Smart Motor hyphen with a numerical value. It is our recommendation that you notate that motor ID on the IntelliFlex IO planning sheet, or you do have the option to change that name as you are setting limits. We also recommend notating that on the planning sheet as well for future reference. As I move through the list of motors, the motors will jog up and down as they are highlighted to indicate that this is the motor that you are selecting. If you are in a position to where you can see all of the motors, you will see it jog up and down. However, or if you are in a closet using the motor limit tool, it is recommended that you will likely need a second person to be the eyes on site as these motors are jogging up and down. Now that I have my motor selected, I'm going to hit enter. And it tells me that this motor has no limit set, no programming of any kind. So I'm going to go ahead and use my open and close buttons to run the shade up and down to ensure that my polarity is correct. When I press open, the shade moves up, so that is good. If I did need to change the polarity, I would simply use my up and down arrows to navigate to the direction. It is currently set as normal direction. Press enter and then change that to reversed. Now this motor will operate in reverse order. However, I need this changed back because it is currently operating in the correct direction. So now that I've confirmed my polarity, I'm going to go ahead and set my limit. So I'm going to run my shade up to where I want the upper limit set. I'm happy with that there, so I'm going to hold the upper limit button. The screen is going to tell me when to let go. Please release the button. Upper limit is set. Now I'm going to use my close button to run the shade down. Once I am happy with its position, I can then press and hold the lower limit button. Again, the screen will tell you when to let go. Please release the button. Lower limit has been set. Now it tells me that both limits have been set. The shade's current position is at 100%. Okay, now that my limits are set, you can see that my motor still has the default ID from the manufacturer. If you would like to change that name, you simply navigate to the rename option and hit enter. Now that my motor ID is selected, I'm going to hit enter again. Now I have the option to navigate motor, north, south, east, west, floor, room, or blank. I'm going to change this to room. From here, I have the option to set a 3-digit numerical value for this. So if I hit enter, I can simply navigate through the numbers, and then I have the option to add a second numerical value that will be separated with a hyphen. So if you have a room with multiple shades, you can name those 1 through whatever your highest number is for that specific room. Once you're happy with the name, you select confirm and hit enter. Now at the top of the screen, you can see that my shade is renamed to room 6. From here, I do have the option, because I'm working with DC motors, to adjust the speed. By default, all DC motors from Draper will ship at 18 RPM. However, you can adjust that if you would like. You simply navigate to the RPM section, hit enter, and then use your up or down arrows to navigate through the various RPM availabilities. With the 45mm motor, we can take this all the way down to 2 RPMs and up to 28. With the 28mm motor, we can take this down to 5 RPMs and up to 28. So I have my speed changed for my DC motor. Now I can set preset stops. I have 2 ways to set preset stops. If I would like equally based preset stops, I simply go to no preset stops and hit enter. And then I select how many equally based preset stops I would like. Right now it's set to 0. So if I hit enter, use my up arrow, each time I press up to add a preset stop, it is equally going to space those out. So if I want 3 preset stops, it will equally space those out to 25, 50, and 75. I'm going to save those, hit confirm. Now, let's say that we have a horizontal mullion that we would like our shade to have a custom stopping point to line up with. We can achieve that as well, even if it is not an equally based preset stop. To set a custom preset stop, we simply use our open and close buttons to run the shade to the position we would like for the custom preset stop. Once in that position, we will hold the add stop button for 2 seconds. Preset stop added, release the button. This shade now has 4 preset stops, 3 equally spaced and 1 custom. The default position is where you would like the shade to return to if there are no overrides on the network. By default, the shade will stay at the last commanded position. So if a wall switch tells the shades to go to 75%, at the end of the 2-hour override, once that wall switch releases its command on the shades, they will stay at 75% by default. However, you have the option to change that default position to up or down for uniformity across the project. If you would like your shades to return to a default position of up or down once all commands have been released from the network, simply change your default position from none to open or closed. Now, at the end of the day, once all overrides have been released from the shades, they will return to their default position that you have assigned to them. I also have the ability to set my groups as I'm programming my motors. So if I want my motors assigned to a specific group for a specific switch, I can do that while I'm setting my limits to streamline things and make it easier as the project goes along. I simply select Set Groups and hit Enter. From here, I am going to be given 64 available groups to choose from. You navigate to the group you would like this motor to be a part of, hit Enter. The box to the side of the group will be checked. That is the indicator to let you know that this motor is now part of this group. That covers the DC specific additions to the motor limit tool. For a more generalized overview of the motor limit tool, please click the card above. For any questions or concerns, please contact Draper Technical Support at 1-800-238-7999 and select option 3.